You said when the music stopped, Adam. Hi, everybody. Chef Andrew here at Kitchen Door, and welcome to a special "What am I going to make for Mother's Day" edition of this thing that we just started doing. We're just going to go live today. I'm going to show you how to make perfect scrambled eggs. That is the takeaway today. We're going to show you how to make perfect scrambled eggs. Might be a little bit different than your normal routine, but trust me, they are gorgeous. So we're just going to dress up those scrambled eggs and make it a brunch dish worthy of Mother's Day. So to start off, I've got some spinach, which I want to wilt right off the bat. So I'm going to throw my spatula around a little bit just for fun. So I'm just going to turn on my pan here. Wilting spinach takes no time at all, but I want to get this started because the idea here is this is like a no hassle. We'll get all of that breakfast ready in about 10-15 minutes. So I'm just warming up my pan here on medium heat. So I got that going, and I've got about a cup of spinach. So I just want to wilt this in the pan. It takes no time at all to do. So I want to start off by getting a little bit of butter in that pan. So I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons of butter right in the pan here to start melting, and then we'll get our spinach in there as well. Also, I've been roasting some mushrooms in the oven, which are going to go on this dish. And roasted mushrooms are really fantastic because you can basically just toss them in a little oil, salt, and pepper, put them in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and they shrink up, and they are beautifully concentrated and flavorful. So I'll show you what they look like. I, of course, through the magic of television, roasted them off already. Check these out. They are gorgeous. So these mushrooms right here were just roasted 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And as you can see, they're really, really tender and nicely browned, and they're going to go perfect. I'm just going to throw them in with our spinach when they're done as part of this breakfast plate that we're doing here. So now in my pan, my butter has just started melting. So that's perfect. My spinach is going to go in now. So here we are. As soon as those butter starts bubbling, throw your spinach right in. And then we're going to season it with a little dash of salt here, a little pinch of pepper. That'll go right in here as well. And then I've got my spatula here to move it around. And like I said, it takes no time at all to wilt spinach. Just want to get it until it's nice and bright green and reduced in size. So while that's going, we're going to get our eggs ready, because with this technique, you've got to pre-melt your eggs for a few minutes before they actually go in the pan. It actually helps break down the proteins and gives you a silky scramble. So let's take a little camera right over here while that spinach is wilting, just to show you how I like to crack my eggs. You never want to crack it on the edge of a bowl. You always want to crack it on a flat surface. So here we go. Perfect. Nice flat crack. No eggshell driven up in there because we did it on a flat surface. So 1 egg. 2 eggs. There we go. That's a one-handed crack right there. 3 egg. And 4 eggs. So scrambled eggs for 2, you know. There we go. And now we're going to put about half a teaspoon of salt right in here with these eggs. And this will, like I said, help those proteins sort of break down and give you a silkier egg as a result. So I'm just going to whisk up the eggs right here till they're nice and uniformly scrambled. And now moving right along, our spinach is looking awesome over here. So just need to give it another little toss. As you see, it cooks right down, but this is just a nice little side along with our mushrooms, which I will just put in with the spinach now. They're fully roasted, so we don't need to cook the mushrooms anymore. But just keep them nice and warm as they're working through here. Perfect. And so these eggs and salt, good to go. Now we'll get my little smoked salmon plate ready here. So some beautiful Willie Krause smoked salmon. You get amazing smoked salmon all over, and of course, perfect for a Mother's Day breakfast dish. A little fancy. And there we go. Our spinach is all wilted and ready to go. So I'm just going to turn that pan off, and then we'll just take it right over here and plop them right on the plate next to my beautiful smoked salmon. There we go. So our roasted mushrooms, wilted spinach, and scrambled eggs coming right up. Let me get a little spoon here. These mushrooms are rolling everywhere. Okay, there we go. mushrooms and spinach, promise. Right there, beautiful, ready to go. And now I'm going to use the same pan for my eggs. So I just need this is a nonstick pan. You can just give it a little wipe with a cloth. That's perfectly good. There we go. And now I'm going to get this pan heating back up. And I need to do a few things with these eggs now before they go in. So I promised these were a little bit special. Now these are based on a recipe by one of my favorite chef authors, Kenji Lopez-Alt. So you can check him out on the New York Times, Serious Eats website, check him out on Instagram. Amazing chef. He's written a book called The Food Lab, and he really delves into the science behind food. So this scrambled egg recipe is totally his. He developed this over many, many, many batches and tested many batches, but I've been doing this at home now for probably about 2 months, and at least every weekend I make a breakfast sandwich or just a nice side of scrambled eggs using this method. And let me tell you, it's once you have these eggs, they are so light, they're so fluffy, they're so creamy, they're just beautiful. So we've got our 4 eggs whisked up that have been sitting together a little bit easier. And now I want to finally dice up 2 tablespoons of butter. So I've got my knife right here. I'm just going to cut this into tiny little cubes. And what's going to happen as these eggs cook, this butter is going to melt out into the eggs, forming a super silky, silky, silky egg. There we go. So again, finely chop our cold butter. This is unsalted. You could use salted butter. Just need to compensate for the salt in your dish as you go along. There we go. So just dicing this up. As you can see, nice little pieces of butter right there, cold from the fridge. And we're going to put this butter dice right in with our eggs. There we go, just like that. So we're going to mix this up. And you can see all these little butter chunks will now float freely and separately in here, and they'll melt out as they cook. And now, the secret ingredient, tapioca starch. Now you can use cornstarch. Tapioca has no flavor to it when you add it to something, so that's what's really awesome. If you're using tapioca, for every 4 eggs, you want to use about 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, which sounds like a lot, but really it's flavorless and it also gives a beautiful silky texture, so it's all good. If you're using cornstarch, use about half that amount. So what I'm going to do is I need to make a slurry, so sort of dissolve the cornstarch, or sorry, the tapioca flour here in a little bit of water. So I just need a little dish here. I'm going to take my roughly 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, chef measurement here, just a little eyeball-y. There we go. And just need to put a little bit of water in here to make our slurry, mix it together. There we go. So just get your finger in there and make sure you don't have any chunks. Make sure that tapioca starch is all dissolved. There we go. And then just before you put your eggs in your frying pan, whisk in your slurry of your tapioca or cornstarch, just like this. In the reading I've done about this recipe, this is actually a very typical way to cook eggs in China and in different parts of Asia. Add a little bit of starch to it, and that way you avoid like scrambled eggs that sort of seep liquid as they sit. So there we go. I need to put a little bit of butter just in my pan to start it off. So just a little sliver, just enough to swirl around here. This also will tell you how hot your pan is. And great thing about this recipe too, it's quite forgiving. So these eggs can sit for a few minutes and still be super silky, super beautifully textured. There we go. Just stir that around, and you can always tell your pan's ready when these little bubbles stop popping, because that's the water evaporating. So I know now that my pan is hot enough. I have it on a 5 out of 10 medium heat. And we're just going to let this go. Take about 2 minutes or so. And you don't need to frantically scramble these, or frantically stir these eggs. You just need to every so often give them a little stir, coax them along, but they're going to do a lot of the work themselves here. As you can see, I'm already forming these beautiful little curds, getting nice and silky. And last thing I want to do is maybe have a little bit of green onion to put in here. Nice little fresh internal garnish, and also really bright, beautiful flavor. So I've got some green onions here. Just going to go ahead and slice them thin while our eggs cook. And you can see those butter chunks are still in there, but as our egg cooks, they will totally dissolve and form a super silky sauce. So here we go. There's our green onion now. We're just going to go in with these eggs. And look at that, no time at all. We're getting a beautiful silky scramble. A little bit of browning there, but that's fine. But you'll notice there's no water leaking out of these eggs. They're really, really creamy. And just like that, I'm turning the heat off in the pan because there's enough residual heat in this pan to continue cooking these eggs, even with the heat turned off. And as you can see, beautiful silky. You don't see any chunks of that butter because that butter is all now melted out and is part of these eggs. Got those green onions in there, which are just gorgeous. And this is enough for two, so I'm just going to put enough for one on the plate here. But there's our little smoked salmon breakfast situation here. Beautiful smoked salmon. We have our spinach and mushrooms that have been wilted and roasted. And look at this, the perfect silky scrambled eggs. Now you can cook these till they're a little bit firmer if you like, but I love it when there's a little sheen to them. That really shows beautiful technique and just gives an amazing texture to these scrambled eggs. So this weekend, if you're making brunch for a special someone, think about elevated scrambled eggs right there. There you go, with some green onions and that tapioca starch, just making them super, super creamy and delicious. Anyway, thanks for tuning in for just a little clip with Chef Andrew. Hoping you have a great weekend and make a delicious brunch. Try some scrambled eggs. And if you want this recipe, check it out on SeriousEats.com or look up Kenji Lopez Alt on Instagram. He's got it all there, and genius technique. Anyway, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. See you later.